Report 2, The Light of Hope versus the Darkness of Despair. The first chapter of this era of Kray's history is one steeped in mystery and not much can be found. This is where we are introduced to many names which we will see many times in the coming chapters. During this time, the threat of something named the Void was becoming evident. The United Sanctuary was deciding who would lead the armies in the defense of their home. The Royal Paladins who serve the King directly, or the Shadow Order, the Shadow Paladins who report to one known as Phantom Blaster Dragon. The King wishes for peace and for less blood to be spilled with the coming battles against the mysterious force. The monarch Alfred is a peaceful king, only going to war when necessary. However, within the United Sanctuary, there is unrest. The darkness of Shadow Paladin is rising and their leader, Phantom Blaster Dragon, can only see the darkness and the negative aspects of the nation that he would claim as his. His creation of the Dark Order of Knights was so he could rise and bring down the light of the sanctuary to reflect their belief that within all lies despair and negativity. He feeds from this negative energy and would use a nation of darkness to conquer all. He was once the Guardian Dragon, before Soul Saver Dragon took the charge. Phantom Blaster Dragon was known as Thing Saver Dragon. He fell to darkness when he looked into the hearts of his citizens, and what he saw warped his beliefs and he fell to the same despair and darkness that he saw within others. The two leaders of their clans were not able to agree on a strategy and eventually, this led to a civil war. The sanctuary became divided and there was infighting within its walls. Blaster Blade, who is the champion of the Royal Paladins, wielding the Sword of Light, has a darker counterpart, Blaster Dark, who wields the Sword of Darkness, a blaster armament that uses the user's determination. They clashed many times within the sanctuary. Blaster Dark's ideals were challenged and he eventually came to realize that Phantom Blaster Dragon would be unfit to lead as he would bring only death and chaos to the world. There are not many details about the war overall, but we can surmise that the number lost to this was great and eventually Dragonic Overlord of Kagero stepped in to try and end this himself, coming up to Phantom Blaster Dragon to settle this. Dragonic Overlord used the forbidden dark arts of the Dragon Empire to convert his life force into power. He became known as Dragonic Overlord, the end. As doing this would make it so his great life came to its final chapter, with intentions to die in this fight, he threw everything to Phantom Blaster Dragon. This was not enough. With the chaos in the sanctuary reaching its crescendo, Phantom Blaster Dragon became the Phantom Blaster Overlord, his true form and one that was superior to that of the end. He was able to defeat Dragonic Overlord and leave him by the wayside, where he would start to march for the conquest of not only the sanctuary, but that of Kray, as he was not stopped. Blaster Blade and Blaster Dark, having reached an understanding of what would be best, decided to combine their powers for the betterment of the sanctuary and to stop this tyrant. With swords of light and darkness in hand, Blaster Blade merged them and he became known as the Majesty Lord Blaster, a warrior who uses hope and determination, light and darkness to fight off true evil in this world, evil like that of Phantom Blaster Overlord, a cruel being who sees others as fuel for conquest and would not hesitate to strike down their own forces when he deems them useless. While the battle was fierce, Phantom Blaster Overlord fell to Majesty Lord Blaster and the civil war then came to an end. The Shadow Paladin surviving members were then taken in as an official part of the knightly order of the sanctuary, and the debate of who would lead the armies against the mysterious threat was decided. Not all was well, however. This mysterious invader dealt a devastating blow against Kray. After the civil war, when Blaster Blade, Blaster Dark, and Dragonic Overlord were weakened, the invaders snatched them away and sealed them within the Void. Losing the main vanguard of their respective clans, the Royal and Shadow Paladins of the Sanctuary disbanded and were amalgamated into the Gold Paladins. The Kagero clan of the Empire disbanded also, and in its place, the Narukami was formed, using forces from Kagero and led by Thunder Dragons. Thank you for listening. This was a shorter one, but as we continue, the stories of Kray will become more detailed as there is more information to be found. In the next report, we will look at what becomes of the world after losing 3 of its key warriors. A new clan will rise from the deep and we will see what happens to those who give themselves to the Void.